VEDA Day 24, Sunday, August 24th, 2014, 4:10 p.m. Aha. I just wanted to, I don't think I'll be able to talk about this briefly because my arm hurts. Oh, that hurt. I just shifted arms. There was a comment about, okay, this whole thing about, individualism versus reaching out into the world. Yeah, this is really distracting. Sorry. Okay, obviously, in society, we've taken individualism to a whole nother level, like a very selfish level. But I think that's more tied to commercialism and consumerism, and the I isn't an iPhone, etc. The I isn't. People aren't really. Just because people have become very selfish or all about themselves does not necessarily mean that they are attuned to themselves. In fact, just like often, many people are not really self-aware, not very, do they really know themselves? Are they going through a journey in time and space? No. Are they going through life and learning and growing in to be a person that they want to be? And I don't mean attaining things or goals set by others. Do they know who they are? Do you have a connection within the, like a foothold? I'm not making much sense. Okay, I think that's totally different than the look at me, selfie, tweet every food thing, which there's nothing wrong with all that. I don't see anything wrong with self-expression. But even if you're putting on a fake persona online, like, do you still know who you are? Now, what I was talking about in the last one, about how in the diaries that I'm reading, the writer was more about not getting involved in all the global conflicts and all the strife and everything, and concentrating more on her world and helping the people around her. Like, she it's not that she didn't help anyone else around her. In fact, she was overly giving of herself. She would starve herself just to make sure one of her writer friends had food and anything that they needed. So she went overboard, and she neglected herself and her writing needs. And then she eventually came to realize that she should actually take care of herself as well, that she couldn't give endlessly to everyone else because she would not be able to have anything left for herself. And she wouldn't be able to last anyway at that rate, because boy, is that pimple very distracting. One of the things I've seen in one of the therapy booklets that I've had to look at were about 3 different, I don't think we can easily be categorized, but you can be the abuser, the victim, the rescuer, or different scenarios that you can tend to repeatedly put yourself into, or you can play into those various roles at different times in your life. It's just some way of dealing with past trauma and stuff. And I realized that something I have done before, more than once, is want to be the rescuer. I wanted to be the rescuer. I've been the others as well, I'm sure of it, but the rescuer clearly has been something I've done. And you can say, well, that's really nice of you if you're helping somebody, if you're, putting aside your own desires or wants and needs so that you can save somebody else, so to speak. But is it really? And are you doing it to, first of all, there are times when you have to come to realize what your motives are. Am I doing this to try and make myself feel better and not face whatever I'm going through or whatever I need. You know, I don't have to face the fact that I need to do things to take care of myself, or that I need to create the life that I want, or whatever, that I need to take care of me or address issues that I have. I can ignore that by saving somebody and being the martyr or whatever. And I also noticed this when I used to be very religious when I was younger. I was dealing with a lot of bad stuff, and it was a crutch, an escapism. Yeah, I did good things, but and I was a good person, but I wasn't developing who I didn't know my interests, my own way of thinking for quite some time, and I didn't even realize it. I thought I was thinking my way through things, and that's part of what got me out of religion, actually, was because I read a lot, and I thought a lot, and I had a lot of questions. And that's no reflection on anybody with their religion. I'm just saying my own personal journey. But it took a long time for me to get to the point where I started thinking for myself. And then I noticed this happen again, but in the other extreme, when I had a bit of money years and years ago, when my income changed, and I gave so much money, most of my income, to Amnesty International and Oxfam and everything, and I adopted children and all this stuff, like just crazy, Greenpeace, everything. Because I was trying to feel better about myself. I did want to do good work, but I can't leave my apartment. I didn't want to take care of myself. I mean, I could have definitely taken care of myself better. And that's not the only time where that's happened. So I think there's a trap you can fall into and this is where the overload with the internet and being connected and getting really excited about every single hashtag big topic happens. Unless you are actually one of those people that can save the world, you are one of those people that are in those positions, or you're able to influence them, or yeah, you can. I'm not saying don't do anything that matters, but who's to say that that keeping a garden doesn't, it matters? Don't let somebody tell you that doesn't matter. Or writing your diary, or taking care of yourself and then giving to others in a different way. We don't know. Everybody is their own person, and that's where the individualism comes in. But then you find your pockets of people, or your people, and then perhaps you end up affecting change by getting involved in things in community groups or whatever it is, or maybe global. I mean, you could be able to do that if that's your calling, but not everybody needs to be or should be that way. We are so the hive mind, the quickness to jump into a mob, the quickness to the hurry to be part of something is understandable, but at the same time we need to rein it back a bit and think about who we are. Okay, are they shutting off water in your community? You best be concerned. Are they shutting water off even in the country next to you? Yeah, get concerned. Do find out what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on, or different things, okay? Do what you can to help, but if you're not helping yourself in some level, in some way, you're not going to be able to sustain the difference. Okay. And there's the other thing about the facade of it. Some people who do a lot for communities are doing it for, or on a big level, are doing it for the attention. Some aren't. And you should say, well, it shouldn't matter why they're doing it. If they're doing good things and those good things are happening, then who cares what their reasons are? I kind of almost have to agree, because that's good. The good things are happening regardless of intention. But I believe in intention. I like to think that there's power in intention. So that's a tough one. I mean, I remember being brokenhearted when I heard about Mother Teresa and the going-ons of what she actually, of her organization. And coming from having some family members that are Catholic, and just being somebody who wants to believe in people like that out in the world that are insanely good, and to hear about what she actually, well, you gotta look that stuff up yourself, because I don't want to, I mean, that tarnishes things. But yet, look at all the people that were inspired by her to do good. So it's, but see, if you were somebody blindly following that example or trying to be good because of that person, and you don't have a core of self of what reasons you're really doing it for you, the person you are, you're going to fall apart when you learn something like that. Some bad news that alters your perspective of a person or your reasons of why you are doing what you're doing. It's all going to come crumbling down. And you need to know who you are when you're putting the pieces back together. And some people never even bother to notice, you know, they don't know until something's happened. I don't know, a divorce, a death of a close relative, loss of a job and identity, a hardship where for one time nobody is there, I don't know, or seeing who is there. I guess I'm not saying be selfish. I'm just saying sometimes some of us do need to be. I'm not closed off to the world. I'm quite empathetic and pathetic. No, sometimes it's too much. And I'm not the only one like that. I mean, I'm still looking. I still have an idea of what's going on. But I'm also reading the news. And sometimes you just should not. You just should not. You should. I know. I've done extremes in all of it. From giving more than I should because I think that I'm being selfless, but really I'm wanting to feel some love or acceptance back at me, some appreciation, some acknowledgement that I exist. Other times maybe I've saved somebody because I didn't feel I could save myself, and at least I could do something for them. It was easier to do that than do something for me. Still is at this point. I don't think I could do the same thing for myself. Maybe I could. I've seen some people be selfish, and I haven't liked it. And I saw it as self-preservation. I still see them as having done self-preservation. Do I admire that? Only on the level of I can respect that they did what they did. Do I aspire for that? No. I mean, that's why I'm still I would give what I can when I can't even still, without taking care of me first. And that's, again, I don't think that's good. Maybe some people are in a great position to help in that, because Some people come from a better footing. They've had a supportive family behind them. They've had maybe a good education, a good job. They've got a financial footing. They haven't had their self-esteem crushed, or traumatized through their childhood or through their young adult years or their adulthood stuff. They're intact. They're more intact, or they have a stronger base, and they can do incredible things from there. But I think some of the more broke people, we just need to be a little more careful when we're just sending off all bits of ourselves to everybody when we haven't taken the time to take care of ourselves. Some people argue that the more you give of yourself to others, especially with the whole volunteering motto, which, yes, people should volunteer. I'm a strong advocate of volunteering, especially in your community or wherever you can. But some people say that, well, you'll get more back the more you volunteer and give of yourself. That is where you'll become a whole person, or where you'll feel the love that you're looking for and all that. No, yes, you're going to do good things, but just like thinking if you think you're important at your your job, clocking in and getting paid every week, and that you're indispensable, even if you're told you're indispensable, guess what? You're dispensable. You're just another body, and you may affect some people's lives, but overall, we are dust in the wind, yada, yada, yada. So, it's still your life, and some people just pour out so much to get away from having to deal with this or fixing this. They feel that if they do everything out there and for other people, they don't have to address this. And why do I think this is important to address this? Because because you live with yourself every single day. And gosh, there's so many people now that can't even stand to be by themselves, to be alone, to be in silence, to think about something without the influence of somebody else's opinion pressed upon them. People need to... Why? Maybe you don't... You know what? I'm quite aware of enough people that are just flying through life without probably much reflection at all. Or maybe they're getting way up there before they finally are starting to do some introspection. And maybe they do have the right idea. Maybe that's why they are happier and more successful or something. I don't know. I just know this is my personal experiences in my journey and where I'm trying to figure things out. And honestly, I just think it makes a lot of sense to do to fix yourself. And then do what you can. Because I'm telling you, the other way doesn't really much work. Because in the end, after you've emptied yourself out, you're just empty. You've got to take care of yourself, build yourself up. For those who, like I said, I think it's great for those who don't have to do this sort of work. And I hope that they're using that privileged position for good and to help others if they can. But for those of us who are coming from a different spot, that's some of my scattered thoughts about it. I don't know if I made any sense.